Welcome to episode 51 of Cinema Curse. Uh-oh, it's doing the thing. I've put all the wrong... I completely have fucked up this intro. It's doing the thing where it's zoomed in. Instead of zooming in on me spotlighted, it like zoomed in on y'all grouped up in the corner. This is only going to make sense to people who watch the video version. If you're listening on audio, you're shit out of luck. But it's episode 51 of Cinema Curse. Tonight, we return to Twin Peaks Club with Twin Peaks: The Return, the long-awaited third season of Twin Peaks that finally came out 25 years after the show ended. I am your Wicked Game Master, Lloyd Crews. Today, I am manifesting... I don't know. Somebody else can take it this week. But I'm joined here today by Bri Robert.
Hey guys.
Oh, nope. And then
That was very confusing.
And
What
then
the
Robert Benfer. Now
What?
My last name is Robert, so we're just confused all around. Good start.
And
Twin
then
Peaks Mysteries started.
Jay Light
Hello.
The hell?
and Jason Steele.
Hello.
Bobby, it's okay. Just
I don't understand.
From
He has a
now
name
on-
name of Robert too?
from now on, it's first names only, so you don't have to think about it.
Thank you.
We're past it.
Oh, I thought that was already the rule.
I would like to thank Marina Sakamoto and her band Shunkin for the use of their song Curse off the EP She Nods. It's been 462 days. I hope I updated that since the strike ended, and the AMPTP still sucks. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad.
Meaning a
Yeah.
Subway sandwich because I miss David Lynch.
Yeah, this is... I kind of knew last year when we got like 3 troubling health updates in a row. I was like, I feel like Twin Peaks Club is probably going to outrun Mr. Lynch, unfortunately. And
Not gonna happen.
we talked about this 2 episodes ago whenever we first came back, but yeah, this is our first Twin Peaks Club after the passing of David Lynch, which is a fucking bummer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's wasn't the most surprising thing I heard. I remember when we talked about Fire Walk with Me, and we talked about that shot of the Pink Club and all the cigarettes on the floor, and we were like, how many of those do you think David himself smoked? But yeah, rest in peace, David Lynch.
R.I.P., buddy.
Yeah. And I do also have to announce, since we last did this, I watched Wild at Heart for the first time in a while, and that guy Dell from the last episode of Twin Peaks, the old guy, he's in Wild at Heart also. Very briefly. Like the old man at the bank who's like hobbling around.
That's such a good it's just the opening. I'm so just amped into a movie the second that movie begins.
Yeah.
Rage Cage just gets it going.
I gotta rewatch Wild at Heart. It's been a minute.
But yeah, let's get started with Twin Peaks. Like these episodes, I just have an actual screenshot on these. It's been a minute since we did one of these where I have the actual screenshots behind me and not jokes.
Hey, Connor, isn't this is the first episode that you and me actually watched when it first aired? When I first moved to LA.
Yes. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yep. I think weren't you even watching it with me? Was it as you had moved, or was it like that pre-move time when you were like crashing at my place for a little while?
It might have been pre-move time when I visited LA for a couple of weeks, and then went away and then moved to LA a couple of months. Because I think I visited you. We watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I went back to Texas. And then by the time I moved, the last 2 were airing.
Yeah, it was something like
season.
that. Yeah, it's funny on your rewatch so far.
Fun fact.
It feels a lot more like the old show than I remember the first time watching it. I feel like. I don't know how other people feel.
Yeah, it has the same kind of spirit to it. Like, a lot of it takes place outside of Twin Peaks, and a lot of it like has a different kind of pacing to it. But yeah, I do feel like rewatching it. I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they they give you a dead body in the first episode. It's kind of a different thing. They give you all these cutesy scenes with characters. It's kind of different. The pacing's weird, but yeah. Sorry, Jay, I cut you off.
I don't know why. I don't. Sorry. Sorry, Jay.
Interrupt Jay.
I'm just gonna never talk the whole. I'll always start a sentence. I think that it's mostly.
Sorry, I got confused. My last name is Jay.
I'm gonna get a Quiznos sub. I think I'll chill the rest of the time. I think a lot of it also too because it's it was Showtime instead of CBS. There's obviously a level of some of the more violent or stuff that you can see with David Lynch's movies that you can't see on TV. I feel like it's got the Twin Peaks sort of feel, but with also the dark undercurrent is so much more prominent because it's on paid cable, so it's allowed to be more prominent, which is nice.
We open with the repeating of the scene from the old show, I'll See You Again in 25 Years, which is fucking crazy how well that lined up. We get the kind of new opening, which is sort of similar to the old in certain ways, but new in its own way. Weirdly, the water looks way nicer now, which I think is interesting. I don't know, how did it like used to be that brown and now they've just like dyed it a lot more, or did they just shoot it so fundamentally differently?
I think it's color grading.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea, but I suspect.
We don't get a lot of Kyle MacLachlan in this episode, but we start with the Giant and Coop having a little convo, and then our second scene we see Jacoby get a shipment of shovels. Can't wait for that to pay off.
And every Jacoby scene is just the greatest thing. It's such a gift to the entire series.
It's really funny though too, because I think having this first volume of talking about the return being these first 5 episodes is good, because we do get the payoff of that at least at the end of this set of episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
In New York,
I'm glad it takes 5 episodes for the shovel thing to finally pay off.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, that's it's a golden shovel.
Well, we don't know that yet. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
We just know that there's shovels. In New York City, I'm going to do what I've done in the past with Twin Peaks, where I've kind of compressed storylines. If there's intercutting, I'll just kind of like cover everything in a storyline in a row. So in New York City, we get the famous glass box.
Glass box.
I like all those scenes where he's like, I gotta go look at my glass box some more. Hey Tracy, you want to hang out and look at this box with me?
It's great for a resume. I mean, it's literally like a one line. Like, I just looked at a box. It's like that was my job.
Yeah.
Great.
What if we kissed in front of the glass box?
Well, if you do that, the reason why you don't do that is because you get attacked by a ghoul. A ghoul emerges and eviscerates you.
Yeah, in a very slicey way. I like the way that kill happens, though. It's wild.
Yeah.
Very aggressive.
No, I think that's definitely a moment that does announce, like what Jay was saying, that like, oh, this is
sure,
this is on Showtime. Well, and the fact, because like right before that we get a bunch of nudity, and so it's like nudity and then like a really gory murder.
Hey, this is cinema now.
Yeah,
David Lynch is having fun. He's having a good time.
We get a little scene at the Great Northern here with Ben and Beverly, a new character played by Ashley Judd, and this sort of retooling of Ben is very similar to how he used to be, but Jerry has gone his own path and is now a big time stoner hippie. and yeah, that's a fun scene. One of the only other Kyle MacLachlan scenes we get in this episode is Mr. C's intro with the really cool slowed down. Bri, you were playing for me and Scott that like it's like a
it's a cover of American Woman, but it's slowed literally to half speed.
Yeah, it's like a weird percussive heavy cover of American Woman.
It's actually more of a country twang inspired version that literally is done. And funny enough, that does show up later on in a cool Diane sequence. So those two are my favorite uses for sure.
And Mr. C, he it's basically we just get introduced to him. We get introduced to some other characters, but I'll bring them up next episode when they're more important. But basically we find out that with Mr. C, who I'm going to call this version of the character, is the version of Cooper that is possessed by Bob that emerged from the Black Lodge 25 years ago after in the last episode of the show. And he's a badass and an asshole.
And
very tan.
Yes. He is
so tan.
He's very leathery. Well, he's been hanging out in South America, I think, a lot. With Philip Jeffries doing like drug deals or some shit. But we get our little mystery to kind of start the show in Buckhorn, South Dakota. Some dog named Armstrong finds a dead body, and then we get a bit with a bunch of names and keys that everyone is confused about. The head is missing. Yeah. What is that, Bobby?
Okay, Armstrong. I notice things.
Like Neil?
No.
The body, the head's missing an eye, and the head itself is separated from the body, which itself is really fucked up looking. And Prince lead to Matthew Lillard, pictured behind me. And we get his wife is a little suspicious in this first episode. And Lillard has some sort of missing time where he's not aware of when things might have happened related to this woman, because I guess the woman who dies is like connected to him through work.
Yeah, the librarian.
Yeah, because he's a school principal. And then the last two, it's funny too. It's like there's a lot less scenes per episode in this show, even with the episodes being longer. Because I think
especially these first two, they just wandered for a while, but like in a great way. But there wasn't really narratively a whole lot of.
We get a very sweet scene with Hawk and Margaret, the log lady, and basically something. She tells him that something is missing, something related to Hawk's heritage, which Hawk puts Andy and Lucy on that mission. And
perfect duo to put in on that mission.
Yeah. They definitely haven't gotten smarter.
Was it this episode that we felt with the phone thing, or was that the next episode?
That's like in an episode or two.
Okay. That's great. We'll get to that.
It's that's when they introduce Robert Forrester finally.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
It's funny because like some of the other characters, when we get to David Lynch, like Gordon Cole has actually kind of adapted a little bit, like his hearing stuff, like. You know what I mean? Like he has a more sophisticated hearing aid now and is able to utilize it better in different ways. And there isn't, he still kind of talks like the way he talks, but he isn't, there's not as much him just like screaming and people,
right.
But not Andy and Lucy. And then back with the giant, we get the credits and we get the beginning of almost every episode of this show has a memoriam. A dedication because of how many people died after filming. And this one is dedicated to Catherine Coulson, the log lady, Margaret Lanterman. I think because she must have passed away like right because she's in like 2 scenes, and I don't want to sound ghoulish, but she looks. Like,
well, I was just gonna say,
she looks like she probably died right after shooting, which I think is what happened.
Yeah.
And those are really affecting scenes, honestly. But
I think the like the fact of the 25 years later line combined with the number of cast members who died right after filming this, like there is a sort of like mystical quality to the return that's like both in the quality of the art and also just in the circumstances of its creation.
There's something almost like the one thing I really wish is if they could have gotten. It's a good thing Scott's not here. I wish they could have gotten Bowie for like one scene or something. You know,
that's the biggest bummer to me.
Absolutely.
That's wise.
Because I know he really wanted to do it too.
Yeah,
I mean,
because he was like very aware that it was happening. I mean, like the last album of his is like a.
Oh, I mean, it was literally like forever I've known this thing. Here you go, everyone.
Goodbye.
It was wild. Yeah. I mean, it's the most Bowie thing that ever could have happened, but very sad it didn't happen that way.
Though his character does still like loom large over the show as it goes on. But let's switch up to part.
Before we move on, I do want to say that Matthew Lillard gives a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, which is, he's apparently kind of self-conscious about, and it's like, bro, don't be.
I know it's the whole time I was watching, I was like, dang, he's killing it.
Yeah,
this guy's a great actor.
He is. But yeah, part 2. All of my backgrounds are very dark and gray looking. Here we've got the woodsman in his little cell. I think one thing that's interesting about this new show, especially this first half, is how much like Twin Peaks has always dealt with like kind of magic with a K in a way, like arcane, that kind of shit. And it's interesting the way that like backroom business deals and covert ops are like working as pieces of this giant magic ritual. Because that's kind of like what a lot of these, especially these first couple episodes, are essentially, and that it is this giant. Because we have to assume that every time there's like a person talking about a guy in charge that they're scared of, I'm assuming that it's Mr. C. In this, or potentially Philip Jeffries, who we find out Mr. C is working with. And all of this plot is basically a giant way to further their rampage on the mortal plane, essentially. We just never have that scene where somebody comes and says it the way I did. We in Buckhorn, the wife, the shady wife, comes to visit Matthew Lillard. She's clearly trying to like set him up. And later on, we do find out that Mr. C is pulling the strings here. This is part of this giant magic ritual, and he kills the wife. I don't even know her name. Mr. C at a diner, talking to Ray and Daria. I love that stuff about like I don't need anything. I want.
Hell yeah!
It's a great scene. Mr. C engages in some face smushing, which
gets his point across.
Well, we know that he off camera just killed that guy after that, because Daria tries to bluff and be like, "Oh yeah, I was just talking to that guy you were smushing the face of," and he's like, "Actually, after I smushed his face, I crushed his face, presumably." Because Ray, I guess, is in prison now, and Daria and him were planning on killing Mr. C. Mr. C wants a weird ant creature that he shows on a card that he's drawn. He's like, "This is what I want." And he kills her. We get a good image of her laying under the pillow, which is creepy. And Mr. C uses a cool hacking setup to call Philip Jeffries. And when I was watching this, I was thinking about like that hacking setup. It's so simple, but like certain film, like a Neil Breen only wishes he could like create a real, because like you see in his movies, he just has like laptops with nothing on the screen, and he's just going like this, like just tapping away at them. And it's like, Neil, you gotta give the penitentiary a name, you can't just call it the penitentiary. Like, you're not making Babe Pig in the City, But anyways, that was just a...
I like that they showed a bunch of lines of code that were overlapping because that felt like it was more hacking to me.
Yeah, 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 100%. But you know, like for a guy who's like 70 years old, it's like not a bad representation of like hacking and computer interacting and things like that. It gets the point across. Let's see.
Yeah, I always thought that like hacking in media and stuff, like the accuracy is not as important as communicating that the person doing the hacking is actually competent at what they're doing. So the setup that they have here gets that across.
Yeah, you can tell his password and username and stuff that passes the guidelines of this is a strong password that somebody who understands computer security would probably use and set up properly.
We get a mention of Garland here. C hacks the prison, and then we get introduced to Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's hanging out in the fucking room next door.
Chantal.
And then we get the first part of what I call in my notes for the next episode, Coop's Crazy Black Lodge Adventure. But we finally get.
Wait, sorry. I don't want you to gloss over one of the best lines of this entire string of episodes, which is Kyle MacLachlan touching Jennifer Jason Leigh and going, "You're nice and wet," and then cut to the next scene.
That's why I have you all here, to remind me to not get the little things. Coop is in the red room. You know, there's some stuff about future and past. He apparently can leave now. We kind of get this ambiguity with Laura where she's talking about how she's alive but also dead. She shows Hull before getting sucked. And which mean like she pulls her face aside and shows that hole, and then she gets like sucked into the ceiling.
I know what you meant.
We get the void horse, the horse in the void. We get to see the arm's new form, which the reason why, one, it's cool looking, and two, that actor went insane. And like accuses David Lynch of being involved with like Jack Nance's death and all this other fucked up shit.
It's like his spinal cord is like growing up into his brain and stuff.
Yeah,
being in Tiptoes really did a number on that guy, huh? What a shame.
Is he still alive?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
But hey, we find out that Mr. C has to come back in before Coop can go out. And as Coop is trying to leave, he runs into Leland, who asks Coop to help Laura. But before Coop can leave and switch with Mr. C, because he kind of opens this curtain that reveals Mr. C driving along the road, the Arms doppelganger attacks him, and shit just goes nuts. And Coop arrives. Coop floats through the box. Apparently, right before
non-existence.
Apparently, right before the people re-entered and were killed. Which presumably does that mean is the ghoul supposed to be the Arms doppelganger? Perhaps is that the implication that he's being chased by him?
That's what I think, because that was what got through basically.
Yeah, and that would maybe make
sense.
sense.
In the glass box.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was Judy.
Or it could be that too. But it's
been a few years.
The fact that he goes through and then this thing comes through almost feels like it's like something chasing him in a way. That's the implication I get.
Yeah.
But and then in Twin Peaks we get another Hawk Margaret call. This one's also very sweet. He visits the Glastonbury Grove, which actually that happened way earlier. That's how we transitioned to the Red Room for the first time. We get a little scene with Sarah Palmer watching really fucked up animal videos and just getting blasted on cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah,
it's like how to deal with trauma 101.
Yeah.
Sarah.
And then up at the Roadhouse, we find out that James has always been cool, and Shelley eyes Balthazar Getty, And we establish basically what becomes the kind of usual ending for Twin Peaks: The Return, which is up at the Roadhouse and a band plays. David Lynch kind of got to also make a concert film in the middle of this with a bunch of bands he liked. And this one's dedicated to Frank Silva, who played Bob originally, because he's featured in a lot of
he died in like the mid 90s, right?
Yeah, he died a while ago. He wasn't involved with this.
What happened? How did he die?
I don't know. Too much denim.
It was like right after
He
overdose.
I think he died of AIDS complications.
Oh,
rest in peace.
He died like right after Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's in Fire Walk with Me. And he would have been in this. It's funny, like the characters where it's like, he would have been in this if it wasn't for it. Mm-hmm. And then it's funny how there's like, we just don't, Donna just might as well never have existed.
Yeah.
But let's move on to part 3, which is a very linear part. I'm gonna cover up, see if I can cover up what's behind me until it happens in the episode, and I can reveal the visual behind me.
I know what you're doing. Yeah.
It's also, this episode I think really starts to get into like a piece of lore that's really important that they picked up in Fire Walk with Me, is like the importance of electricity and like circuits and conduits, and something about that. It's like every piece of electronics is like a portal into this world, or like able to be used in such a way. I have most of this episode is one big section I have labeled Coop's Crazy Black Lodge Adventure. Coop lands at a big weird castle. He meets Nido, that woman with the eyes who's all covered up, and they have a hard time interacting, which they do a good job here, kind of in a different way from the Red Room. Like, this is like another dimension, like on the dial, and so he has a hard time interacting in a different way, as opposed to everyone speaking backwards. It's all like choppy and shit. And they ascend onto a space capsule. She like flies off or something, and Garland appears in the stars. When he goes back down, he meets another woman, which is Ronette Pulaski from the other girl.
I didn't know that until years later after I saw that. I don't know who she was.
Yeah, bands
until like recently.
Chat. Trying to sell me listeners. I get my listeners the natural way, sir. I will only sell out to a big corporation. But yeah, it's interesting that Ronette's there in that other room, and there's the Nido thing of like, who's Nido. I remember when I first saw this, I thought Nido was supposed to be Josie. Was my immediate guess. I guess it wouldn't necessarily, because she's not necessarily trapped in the Black Lodge. She's literally trapped in the wood of the Great Northern.
Wasn't right? Is there a reason she wasn't in this?
I think Joan Shin decided she didn't want to be involved. That was part of it, and I know she has like this last year or so, because she was in that movie Dee Dee. That was supposed to be pretty good. She basically expressed regret about not appearing in The Return.
No,
which I kind of get it, because like her character was probably like Donna in a lot of ways, is probably one of the most, like, I would say maybe not used the best always in the show, and I can see how it would be frustrating for them, as opposed to like all these much more like fan favorite characters. If you're Hawk or Andy or something, like, of course you're coming back. everybody loves you.
Harry was obviously the biggest disappointment, I guess, as far as major casting.
Yeah, Harry couldn't come back because I guess Michael Ontkeen is ill.
He retired a long time ago.
Retired.
I think that's what he just I think he just ducked out of. He hasn't done anything in so long that.
He refused.
Yeah, because he was just like, I did the retired thing. Yeah. Because even looking at his stuff, I mean, like the 80s is the last time he had really filmed stuff that he did.
Yeah. He's coasting on that original Twin Peaks money. And
It wasn't Slapshot. That was all the. You get a lot from that.
And the self-esteem from how handsome my mom thinks he is. When she watched this show with me, or the first season and a half. In the middle of this, we cut to Mr. C on the road. He's zoning out, filling the pool of the car charger. Coop gets sucked through, which is what's behind me. Him getting sucked through the charger.
That's just the best scene too. It's so good the way that sequence happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like an amateur filmmaker way, in a way. Like I don't know, it's something like if you saw like a student film, you'd be like, "This is the master thing that we accomplished."
Yeah.
But it just feels so. I don't know, the way it's pulled. It's just funny. It's really funny.
It's really funny. Mr. C crashes. He sees the red curtains and pukes. We meet our third Kyle MacLachlan, OG Dougie with Jade. This Dougie, this Kyle MacLachlan sees the red curtains and disappears. And in the Black Lodge, he meets with Mike, finds out that he was manufactured, and then he kind of disappears. He kind of shit goes nuts, and the green ring falls off him, and he turns into a little gold ball.
It happens.
Hey.
That's how I hope to go.
Yeah.
Coop, now also Dougie. At this point, I'm going to basically use the two names interchangeably. Appears from the outlet. Coop is out of it. It was funny. We were talking about this Bri, with Scott. Like, my interpretation, the reason why Coop as Dougie is so out of it for so much of this season is that he just spent a quarter of a century in another dimension, and it sort of warped his brain. But y'all were sort of saying y'all think it had to do with how he got out of the Black Lodge specifically.
Yeah, I think because of that doppelganger thing, I think the pathway to success was just completely all over the place. It may be both. Maybe part of like
it could be
he would have been
also
a little messed up too. Yeah, I mean I'm glad we got with that.
Yeah.
Then he Dougie sequences.
Yeah, I feel like he's been hollowed out in some way. He needs to be refilled.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why he's drinking up all the coffee you can.
Well, he's also kind of he's like toddler-esque in a way, where the way he's sort of absorbing words and stuff, and we know that Cooper is in there in some form because we can see him reacting to keywords, like words that we know are things like coffee, things like sycamore, things like agent. These are things that would be relevant to him. And yeah, no, I love how, I mean, we'll get to this here in a second. But he has a great northern key. We get the establishment of one of my favorite lines, the Jade give 2 rides.
Jade gives 2 rides.
Some ne'er-do-wells are monitoring his exit, but a happenstance saves him for now. Dougie's car is rigged. There's a lady across the street saying 119, which, is she supposed to be like a Black Lodge person monitoring this thing, or someone affected by that in some way? Something's going on there. It's clearly supposed to be like 911 backwards, and something to do with Black Lodge and backwards speak. That's what I've always gotten from that. And cops find Mr. C at his crash site, and then Dougie goes gambling. One of my favorite.
Mr. Jackpots.
Mr. Jackpots. The revolving door bit, which I like. And then my former neighbor, a cast member of Mr. Show, shows up and teaches him hello when you spin. And that's one of the best sequences. He starts getting visions about which machines will pay out, and he gets spooked every time he wins, which I love. He gets like a little like, he has like a little reaction.
But doesn't care that like what it is. Like, this thing happened. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't register to him. And then he helps
the next one.
He helps out this old lady who's there. And one thing I like about this stuff is that it's and we see this like on almost every episode with Dougie, where it's like Coop is so good that even in this incapacitated state, he can't help but just accidentally make the lives of everyone around him better. Like, he is such a beacon of positivity that he just, like, by floating through the world, makes things better. And it's some of my favorite stuff as it develops, for sure.
Well, even the way we got to end things, obviously, it's a affirmation of that exact thing, for sure.
We get a little bit of non-Dougie stuff in this episode. We get the feds finally, Gordon and Albert and Tammy looking at some evidence. The congressman's dilemma, I guess it's supposed to be some other case they're working on. And then we get one of my favorite line deliveries.
What the hell?
When
Yeah, that's a great one.
David Lynch is looking at the photos of the box.
I want that as my ringtone, I think, going forward.
Yeah.
That just sounded so good. Yeah, I need that, I think, in my life more often.
I can send you an MP3 of it.
Yeah, I think I need that.
And then Gordon gets a call about a coop gets put on the trail, and we get that. Wasn't this established in Fire Walk with Me that his desk has that big atom bomb behind it? Was that a thing? But it's so funny that, like, did he know? Like, did he know that he was gonna do this? You know what I mean? Because, like, now it's like, of course he has an atom bomb because of what happens in episodes we're not getting to tonight. But back in Fire Walk with Me, did he know? Like, was that the idea?
Did he have Did he have the atom bomb in Fire Walk with Me?
I think so.
I thought he had something different.
He was probably. These are probably things that, like, are just, like, rattling around in his head, like artistically, and, like, flesh it out later.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
What if the atom bomb opened up a tear in reality, and a bunch of evil critters came through? And we get a couple scenes at Twin Peaks. We get that good donut disturb sign.
Oh yeah.
And the little scene with Lucy and Andy and Hawk and about the chocolate bunnies, which is pretty funny. And we get more of Jacoby. This time we do get the golden. We find out that they're golden shovels. He's got this big contraption all set up to paint them.
Oh yeah, the spinning around, hang drying thing. Yeah,
like the foot pedals.
That's something Lynch built, I'm sure. Like, he was just in his little studio thing. He's like, oh, look at the way this moves. Like, I absolutely was one of his things. It had to, because that's all he would do. Like, I mean, we were watching some of those, like, when he started doing all the podcasts, not podcasts, but these little clips that he'd do on his YouTube channel, all they were like him in his studio just crafting weird little things and being so excited about the most minuscule part of it.
Yeah. And then we get another Roadhouse ending, and this episode is dedicated to the memory of two people, Don S. Davis, who played Garland Briggs, who also died not like a pretty while ago. Not as long ago as Frank Silva, but definitely not an actor. An actor I mostly associate with the 90s and, like, Twin Peaks. And he was also in The Omen 4. I think I took my hand up. And then this episode is also dedicated to Miguel Ferrer, who is Albert, who, it's funny because Albert doesn't necessarily, I mean, he looks older, but he looks pretty spry and stuff, and
Oh, for sure.
And, he died like right after did he die before this aired?
I think
he was one of the ones who before the premiere.
He definitely died before the show came out, but I think he died like a while after they filmed it, but before it got released. I'm pretty sure the timeline there.
Yeah, because it was January 19th, 2017 he died.
Okay.
And that would have, because it was obviously later the year to start to air.
But yeah, let's move on to part 4. Okay, creepy Mr. C doing his creepy thumbs up behind me.
He's back.
Did anybody notice how I feel like every time there's a picture in the background, it's like really terrible Photoshop. Like the pictures in the background with Andy and Lucy and little Wally Brando. They almost look intentionally bad. I don't know if anyone has noticed this. Like, they look intentionally almost like half fake.
I wonder if David Lynch did them himself.
Did it himself, like, really quickly.
Some of the effects in this show looks like he did it himself.
Yeah. I mean, it works. It weirdly works. Like,
yeah.
In anything else, it wouldn't work, but for some reason, it works here. this is a very divided. This episode's got three kind of sections. In Vegas, the polka dot man and that Zionist weirdo Brett Gelman show up to stress out about Dougie. Dougie is deemed Mr. Jackpots. Coop, I already went over this. Ethan Suplee shows up to help Dougie get home, but not before interacting with the people in charge. Dougie returns home and we meet Janie E, played by Naomi Watts. And I wish I could interview Naomi Watts and Kyle MacLachlan together, because I'm curious what it was like them, because they're together a lot in this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were both, you know, when I think of like David Lynch's children, like his
Mm-hmm.
actors who are also his kids, you know, Kyle's at the top, and then there's Laura Dern, obviously, but they had worked together before. But then Naomi Watts, and they hadn't worked together. And I wish I could ask them in like an interview, like, what was that like? Because you guys both had this very specific relationship with David Lynch, you know, coming in and then sharing that experience. You know, I love that behind the scenes clip of David Lynch. He's trying to get Naomi to slap him. That's from this scene when she slaps Dougie, because he's trying to get this, and she's just like, no, I don't want to slap you. And it just makes David Lynch is like, oh, sweetheart, and gives her a hug. And then Kyle MacLachlan pops up. He's like, I'll slap you. But
it was fun because I went to one of the Q&As back in the fall. Comic Block was there, and the amount of stories, and obviously at the time, you know, he didn't know what was going to be happening, but it was fun to hear him reminisce. And they just have so many fun stories together that I wonder, like, working with the three versions of Kyle in this must have been so fun for the two of them too.
Yeah.
Just with the amount of history, obviously.
No, definitely. Dougie apparently missed Sonny Jim's birthday, but he has all this money, quote unquote, enough to pay them back. So apparently they were in some sort of financial trouble. The next morning we get Dougie's iconic lime green suit.
I love that lime green suit.
It's incredible. And Mike, Dougie will see Mike sometimes, and he basically finds out that like one of them, or the audience at least finds out, I don't know if Dougie fully comprehends it, but that one of them has to die. Mr. C or Dougie has to die for there to be a balance of Coopers in this world. I like his pee face when he has to pee, and his pee stance. He looks like a sim. Needing to go to the bathroom. He looks like a sim whose house you haven't put in the bathroom in yet. And we get a lot of stuff here about like Coop being kind of like an improved version of Dougie. You know, like he is even if he's brain dead, he's slimmer. Everyone's like, oh, you're looking good, Dougie. Throughout all this, Dougie and Sonny Jim share a thumbs up, and then we get the famous breakfast scene with his big hi at the end.
Take 5 playing.
Yeah. What was that?
With Take 5 playing.
Yeah.
Background. Great use of Take 5.
Is that like a traditional? Is that like a famous? I haven't heard. Is that like? Is it the song or the band?
It's a song. It's by the Dave Brubeck Quartet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a jazz standard. It's been used in a lot of movies and stuff, but it was well used here.
Nice. With the feds, we get a big Denise scene, which is really good and gives the great, like probably one of the best modern like pro-trans slogans that has been created, especially by someone who isn't trans, which is "Fix your hearts or die." And we also get the great line was "There's room in the FBI for more than one beautiful woman," which I love.
Yeah.
I also love in the when they go up to South Dakota to go visit Mr. C in the prison. They find out that they're not going to be able to go to Mount Rushmore, and so Albert just prints out a picture of Mount Rushmore to show him.
Yeah.
And we get to the prison. We see the contents of Mr. C's truck, which was cocaine, gun, dog leg. They meet Mr. C in the scene depicted behind me. He's apparently he alleges that he's been working undercover with Philip for all these years, but I feel like he's clearly baiting Gordon to try to get out of prison. Outside, as I said earlier, we find out that Gordon's hearing device, he has a more modern one, so he can kind of hear he can hear just kind of normally now for the most part, and then he can actually turn it up a lot in order to have little whisper conversations, which then whenever Albert drags his feet on the floor, it causes immense amounts of pain. But we find out that
you do get that one weird moment where Albert and Gordon like check out Tammy as she's walking away.
That's true. We find out that Albert gave Philip and Mr. C some info that got them into like big business. I forget exactly what it said, but it was like the name of some big drug business thing in some South American country. And I feel like the implication is clearly that they took that information, that these were doppelganger evil versions of these people, obviously. And they took that information and used it to kind of establish this empire that now, 25 years later, we're sort of seeing how widespread it is. You know, it has all these different tendrils all across New York, Vegas, etc. And we set up somebody else that Albert knows where they drink, but we're not talking about her yet. She's a part 6 character, I think, or part 7. I don't know when she shows up. We do meet Frank Truman, and this is when we get the stuff about Lucy still not understanding how like phones and cell phones work, and the fact that someone can call from somewhere and be walking around.
The way she jumps in her chair, that reminds me of the way Coop goes through the door like that. It's just like such a weird comic Three Stooges, weirdly, I don't know, something about the look of it that's so intentional but great.
The station has more room and equipment now, and we get, I think, one of my favorite, certainly my favorite returning character in terms of what they did to him. You don't get a lot of him in this batch of episodes, but Bobby. I love not you, Bobby, the character Bobby. I'm sorry.
What?
God damn it.
Not this again.
But I just love, like, it so makes sense based on where they kind of led him to towards the end of the original show, that now at this point he would be like part of the good guy sheriff gang, essentially. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's basically on, you know, the level with like Hawk and Andy and Truman and stuff. I mean,
you could tell who the good cops are because they eat donuts.
They eat donuts and they hang out with each other, as opposed to fucking stupid Chad. I mean, his name's
with his
even
Garvin
Chad.
Boza.
Yeah,
eating those creamed corns.
Yep. I like Bobby's sweet reaction to Laura's image, sweet and sad. And we also find out that Cooper, so Mr. C, apparently visited Garland, his dad, right before Garland died in a fire at his station. We also do find out, I think I said this on a previous episode, but because, who is it? Leo gets kind of left in the season finale of the original show, just with like a big box of spiders over his head or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in one of the Mark Frost books, they established that he was basically killed like military execution style, apparently. So seemingly Mr. C also went out there and just put Leo out of his misery as well. And then we get the great Wally Brando scene. And the
wild one,
Michael Cera doing the shittiest Marlon Brando impression you've ever heard, just giving an incredible monologue. Robert Forster's reactions are just incredible. I mean, Robert Forster's such a good, if you couldn't get Michael on Keane back, you literally, they couldn't have gotten anyone better
for sure
to fill in for Truman. I love the way he says Caucasians.
Yeah.
I love how long the scene lasts too.
It's so long.
Yeah, it's a long scene, and I love the end of it. When Frank Truman like finally kind of engages and he says "May the road rise up to meet your wheels," and Wally's like slow, like hand to the chest, like those are beautiful words.
It's only one. He was just gonna keep going until he got something.
Yeah,
Robert knew that. He's like, all right.
And then we get another Roadhouse ending with the Au revoir Simone. I really like this Au revoir Simone band. I was introduced to them by this, and I didn't clean up this part of my notes because it made me laugh the way I wrote it. I wrote, "These gals, I love the Roadhouse." I meant to say I love at the Roadhouse, but I was typing really fast. And yeah, my only bright picture behind me for this episode. We get a this guy's smiling face.
Green tea latte.
The green tea guy. Yeah, I love that, and I mean, this is like the give the show asks of you, which is just that everyone just is okay with the fact that Dougie is like a brain dead just person having to get like corralled around into rooms and ping ponged around, and maybe it's partially what he was like before. That can't be actually the case because we see Dougie in that scene and he seems just like a normal, slightly sleazy guy. And
well, not only the brain dead Dougie is an improvement over regular Dougie too.
Exactly.
That's my favorite part about the whole conceit of Dougie Jones.
Something is missing, and everyone is pretending it isn't.
Yeah.
I do feel like there is an intentional metaphor there, but it's like, I appreciate how long the Dougie stuff goes on. I appreciate how long people lead him around.
Yeah.
Well, like Jay said, even with something missing, Coop is a better person than Dougie, than normal Dougie ever was. Even though if we're ranking Kyle MacLachlan Twin Peaks characters by how evil they are, obviously normal Dougie is just a douchebag, basically, as far as we can tell. He wasn't in anything that bad. He was just like owed money and was shitty and stuff.
Missed his son's birthday.
Yeah, it was like in between. Mr. C and
I was gonna kind of bring that up. Yeah. Dougie gets
not a murderer. He just kind of sucks.
Yeah,
he's cheating on his wife,
and he probably
got
was
a bunch
a rapist.
of debt.
Yeah. Dougie gets emotional about Sonny Jim. He sees the lawman statue. Josh Fadem, a great comedian who is also in Better Call Saul, shows up to help him along. Dougie steals Frank's coffee and gives him the "damn good Joe" phrase. He works at an insurance company, and yeah, this is another one of my favorite moments in the series. Is he steals Frank's coffee just because he wants coffee, and so Frank has to get a green tea latte, and guess what? Frank loves it. He's changed his life.
It all worked out.
He didn't eat. Dougie can't help but make people's lives better. Well, at least maybe not so much Tom Sizemore in this first episode or so. Oh, Scott's here. Oh no. He's finally here.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey Scott, we're almost done with part 5. We're like halfway through. We're in the middle of part 5 now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. We introduced a battling Bud Mullins and Tom Sizemore. And Dougie can tell Sizemore is lying by green flashes on his face, kind of similar to how he could see which machines were going to pay out. And Dougie gets some special work. Later, he has to pee again, which is a funny scene. Even later, he doesn't understand how elevators work. Another funny scene. Meanwhile, some bad guys are watching Dougie's car still. A lady they're working for pages someone. And then some other bad guys try to steal the car and it explodes. We get introduced to, I think, my favorite new characters in the show, whose names I forget because they don't do a good job establishing them, but I'm going to call them the girls and the brothers for now. John Belushi and his brother and the girls, Jim. Sorry, not John. Now that would have been spooky.
That would have been wild.
But they beat up the boss at the casino. They want to know about Dougie, and also Jade still has the Great Northern Key and mails it off because it's got like stamped postage on the back, basically. We get some autopsy jokes and find out that body up in South Dakota had a ring in it. And then at the Pentagon, Ernie Hudson gets a hit on Garland Briggs. I didn't mention this, but in the whatever episode this got previously, but at some point the people in South Dakota were like looking up prints and it got blocked, and apparently they were Garland Briggs's prints. And another Fed from a different organization gets sent out to investigate weird things going on. And I was thinking, why is, like, I love Ernie Hudson, but why is Ernie Hudson in this? I was thinking about, like, does David Lynch just love Ghostbusters? And he's like, I gotta get Ernie Hudson in this. But yeah, we get some Twin Peaks stuff. Truman and his wife and her problems. He's impossible, apparently. We get our only appearance from lowercase Mike. Kid normal person Mike, not ethereal otherworld entity Mike, as he is in the middle of not hiring scumbag Caleb Landry Jones. Norma Shelley and her daughter Becky at the diner. Norma and Shelley are very sweet together. Becky is dating Caleb, whose name I'm not remembering. They're kind of the new troubled couple doing drugs, and they go for a car ride, which is a good scene.
Yeah, I like the shot from above as Becky's just enjoying the ride.
Mm-hmm. And the drugs.
And some cocaine, yeah, exactly.
Forget the drugs, but you know,
she likes a good car ride.
He just loves riding around with the top down. And
yeah, the wind in her hair, the drugs in her system.
Yeah.
His dopamine levels at 1 billion, just having a good time.
And then after,
I was just gonna say it's nice. It's nice seeing someone having a good time on drugs.
Yeah. We get the payoff after 5 episodes of the Jacoby stuff. He's an Alex Jones-esque shill. he goes on a righteous rant and then oversells you for a gold painted shovel.
Oof, like at least Alex Jones sold supplements that I mean obviously fake, but like, here's a shovel. Finally, my answers.
Those shovels.
You got to shovel your way out of the shit. How else are you gonna do it?
I want one of them shovels.
That would be cool. I would if I knew, if I could buy a gold. Listen, I would, however much they're paying for in there, if I knew that Russ Tamblyn himself painted that shovel in multiple coats of gold spray paint, I would pay that much money for
you'd have to use that machine as well, though.
Yeah,
that pulley system.
Yeah, 100%. And Jerry and Nadine are watching. This is our first glimpse of Nadine in the new show. At the Roadhouse, we meet the biggest asshole in the world and some other gals. Chad exchanges some money. Chad, the shitty cop, with the biggest asshole, and then he does asshole shit for a while. But they swerve on us, and we don't end at the Roadhouse this episode. You fuckers. We get Frank Silva in the mirror with Mr. C in his prison. And he says, "Good, you're still with me," which, you know, kind of, and this is an implication that's always been there, is that, like, the doppelgangers are, like, versions of Bob that have some essence of Bob and not necessarily Bob incarnate. You know what I mean?
I always forget that. I always just think it's Bob. Like, Bob's Mr. C.
Bob, to me, always felt like a sort of spirit of something.
Yeah.
So it's like there could be different iterations of Bob. It's like it's not necessarily like a person so much as it is like a malicious idea.
Like the spirit of vengeance in Ghost Rider.
Yeah, like that, yes.
How there have been different Ghost Riders with the same spirit of vengeance. Or the Venom symbiote. Anyways.
Or the Holy Spirit from the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, that one too. The name Mr. Strawberry seems to make the warden very nervous, and then C hacks the prison. One of my favorite details I don't think I'd noticed till this watch was when he's making the prison go nuts, there's just like a cooking show on one of the TV screens.
Yeah.
And then in Argentina, that same beeper we saw go off earlier goes off and then shrinks into like a metal pebble or something. And then this ending is Dougie's still at that statue, and this one's dedicated to the memory of Marv Rosand, who played Toad, I believe, in who's this like a dishwasher up at the diner, who we see in this episode, and I think he was in the pilot, and I think a different actor played him, because I think in the show, the old show, he's like a big fat guy usually. This character, but we can assume that in between the first episode of Twin Peaks and the other episodes of Twin Peaks, he got real fat, and then in the 25 years, he got skinny again. So
good for him.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's these first 5. What do people think about these first 5 parts of Twin Peaks: The Return? You want to revisit? I love them. First time watching, I think I was a little bit like, huh? Or like at this point still, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like these episodes. I mean, I don't think there's an episode in The Return I don't like.
Yeah.
But it is a very good start to the show, and I also appreciate like how much the first time I watched it, like it's even like being a David Lynch fan, it subverted my expectations of what it was going to be, and like immediately had me on board, and I love them. They're great.
Yeah, I'm glad he got to do 18 episodes of this. Before the end.
Yeah, we got like 18 more David Lynch movies.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, I'd seen it. This is my first time going through this series, so these are the only 5 I've seen so far. And we watched the first 4 a week ago, and I thought they were phenomenal. But I'm also glad I saw like all 4 together. I think they aired like the first 2 and then the second 2 like pretty close.
I do
just
feel
because
I feel like those first 2 by themselves are a little like, but then like once you get to 3 and 4, it kind of starts to pick up a little, I think.
Yeah. By the time we got to the end of the 4th one, I was like, oh man, like what a great like intro. I'd say those 4, and then this 5th one I really like too, but it felt maybe a little calmed down, a little more like, okay, this is going to be television. There's going to be episodes, and it's not going to be all just like crazy ass David Lynch shit. You know, like Coop going through the portal or whatever. We're going to have like different storylines. And so I'm just like, after seeing the intro and then seeing this, like, I can't wait to watch the rest of the series. I just can't wait to go on this journey, the highs, the lows, and not in quality, but just in like craziness. So I'm just really excited to get going.
You're gonna when you get to the mecha stuff, all the people, the big kaiju fights, your mind's gonna be blown. But yeah, if we're done talking about Twin Peaks: A Return, let me put in everything we said into the computer. It's running a BuzzFeed quiz on which Twin Peaks character we would be. Turns out that we
the
would...
hell?
Yeah.
What the hell?
It looks like we would be a character who likes to play Connor's Wicked Games, sponsored by Chris Isaac. Every week, like Jigsaw, to play a little game. This week, The great states' greats gamble. Much like how we took a gamble on this great experiment we call the United States.
Didn't work out.
didn't work out. It was a bad bet.
Bad bet.
I like your back.
Good try, but bad bet.
Thank you.
I'm going to read the name of a person.
Forgot I had two.
You guys will kind of go one at a time.
The other great Kyle MacLachlan.
Fred Flintstone's in trouble.
Yeah. I'm going to read the name of a person. You will need to wager how many things you think you can name about this person. What is a thing? If it's an actor, you could name individual movies they were in. If it's a filmmaker, songs they did, family members, etc. I will be very magnanimous and generous here. After you wager, you can start at 1, you can go up to 2, 4, you can go all the way up to 10. 10 is the max here. The next person will get a chance to wager more or call you on it. If you succeed, you get points. If you fail, the person who called you on it gets points. And I have one little rule. If we get up to 10 somehow, I will still let people keep increasing it, but just by 1. One thing that all of these people have in common is that they are from or associated heavily with either Washington, South Dakota, Nevada, or New York. This can be one of the things you mention. It can also not be. You don't have to. It's just it's a way to associate it and give the game some structure. That's what the name, the Great States, is. Great.
When you say Washington, you mean the state?
The state
of
of Washington, yes. So,
okay.
So basically the big locations that have been featured in. You get 1 point for the state, 2 points for each other thing, and then after you get points. After you get points earned, you'll get something a little else we'll get to do. But let me start. I think we're going to start with Bobby. No, actually.
Oh, fuck.
We'll start with... I'm trying to think.
Go with the other... What about the other Robert that's here?
Brother Robert. We'll start. I'm trying to think of what would be a good, fair way. You know what? I have a dice. I have some 10-sided dice. We're gonna roll. We're gonna make it random. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Scott.
That.
Woody Allen. How many things do you think you could name about this guy?
4.
Bri, do you think you could name more, or do you want to call Scott on it?
I'll call Scott on it.
All right, Scott.
He's heavily involved with New York.
Yes.
Or he's known.
Yep.
He won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for. Well, could you just say that? Do you have to name the movie, or do you have to?
That counts as a fact.
Okay, some bad news, guys. I don't know if you're. And I hope you're sitting down for this. He also starred in the movie Ants.
You just need one more.
His partner Mia Farrow's daughter accused him of sexual.
Yada yada yada. I'll give it to you. So that's 7 points that you just earned there. Now, if you want to, you can just hold on to it. You can also put them in the slot machine. You can put as many as you want. You can put all 7. You can put 1.
I see.
So I will say this: these will pay off. I have 3 10-sided die. You get 2 for 1 if all the numbers are odds and evens. You get 3 for 1 if you get 2 of the same. All 5s and 10s gives you 5 for 1s. Straights give you 20 for 1, and then you get even more if you get all the same. The only one you don't want to get is all 1s. That's bad, actually. But how many of your points you want to risk?
How many do I have?
7.
I'll risk 3.
You'll risk 3. All right, let's see. You lose them. It's nothing.
Damn it! Well, I only risk 3.
Yeah. All right, Bri.
Mr. Jack shit.
This one's gonna start with you. Madchin a Mick. Madchin a Mick. A Meek?
Yeah, I always do. Yeah. I could probably do definitely 3.
Jay,
I'm gonna call.
you're gonna call.
Yeah.
All right, Bri.
Okay, so obviously Twin Peaks,
Yep.
Riverdale,
Yep.
and I think what are the regions again?
Washington, Nevada, South Dakota, New York.
Let's say Nevada.
That's 5 points to Bri. How many do you want to gamble?
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
2.
2. All right, let's see. Nothing. You lose them. That's fine though.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I think it was rigged and fixed, I believe.
Jay, Bill Gates.
Ooh. Okay. Hold on. I have to count to myself under the table. Okay, I'm gonna safely say 6 things about Bill Gates.
Woo! That's a lot. Bobby,
That's a
you think
lot.
you can go up on that or?
No.
All right, Jay.
Okay. Washington.
Yep.
Divorced.
Yes.
Once was the richest person in the world.
Yes.
Was so uncharitable that he took a pie in the face publicly for how uncharitable he was at the time.
That is a thing that happened. Correct.
Well, that makes up for it.
Yeah, it solves all of it.
Thanks, Bill.
Invented
You're
a
off the hook.
toilet.
Invented what?
A toilet.
Invented a toilet. All right, I'm gonna have to.
That was one of his charitable things to.
I'm gonna have to
invented
fact check this one.
A special toilet.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta give it to you.
What?
We need one more.
And he, he's a Microsoft guy.
Yeah. You hadn't mentioned Microsoft, so.
I was holding off on Microsoft. I had to make sure the toilet thing was still there.
That would have been my only one.
All right. That's 11. How many you want to spend at the casino, Jay?
I want to spend. Man, I have a feeling I'm just gonna lose him, but I'm still.
No, see, just say 11 because you're gonna own him.
Think?
The cat. What? How many should I go? She's saying no. She's saying no deal. I'm saying I'll do 3.
You'll do 3. Okay. Cool. Let's see what we get.
They're all going straight down Bill Gates' toilet.
Nothing.
It's not even gonna gamble it. Well,
All right.
Goes
Bobby,
with the cat.
Jenna Malone.
I don't know what that is.
Well, then you probably just
Jenna
want to say
Malone?
1.
I'm gonna say 1.
Jason, I mean. If you call Bobby and he gets it wrong, you only get 1 point. If you increase, you'll get more points. So I will say that.
No, I don't know who Jenna Malone is either. So
Oh, okay. You're gonna call?
Do you really
Yeah,
not
I'll
know
call.
who Jenna Malone is?
I recognize the name, but I couldn't tell you who it is. Sorry.
All right, Bobby. You got a 1 out of 4 chance if you want to guess one of the states.
They're from South Dakota.
No, they're from Nevada.
Okay.
Jason, that's 1 point. Do you want to gamble it or do you want to hold on to it for now?
Yeah, no, gamble.
Gamble? Hell yeah.
Let her ride.
All in, baby.
I know one. I can do one Jenna Malone thing, and that is the Neon Demon.
Yeah, she's in Donnie Darko.
Love
there's
Life Bleeding.
couple-
She was just in.
Yeah,
Yep.
Zack Snyder movies as well.
Was she
unfortunately for her.
in?
She got paid.
Was she in Ghost World, or am I thinking of a different?
Somebody
a
else. She
different-
would have been too young, I think.
Yeah.
At that point.
She
And
was in
Jason.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch. That's right.
Post Malone.
Oh God.
I don't think I do too much better at this one.
No, I mean
A little bit. I at least know who he is.
I'm gonna need
I don't know
you
where
to give me a
Post
wager.
Malone is from. Oh God. The two.
Scott, what do you think?
I'll call him on it. Yeah.
You'll call him on that. All right, Jason.
Yeah.
You gotta name two things about Post Malone.
New York,
Correct?
and he raps.
That's correct. He's like a general. He does a bunch of types of music, right?
He does. Post Malone went to my rival high school,
Oh hell yeah!
Grapevine High School in Texas. I don't know when he went from New York to Texas, but fun fact.
Everyone's going there, I guess.
Yeah.
Except for me, I guess.
Everyone's moving to Grapevine.
Yeah, except for me and Bobby. Jason, do you want to gamble any of those 3 points?
So do we have to name one of the states?
You don't have to. It's something you have.
Okay.
I'm gonna gamble them all.
I'm gonna gamble them all.
All of
Hell
my
yeah.
points.
Hell yeah,
Yeah, let's
baby.
fucking go for it, man. Somebody's gonna win eventually, right? The odds are. I don't really know the odds.
Hey, you got 2 5s. So those 3 points become 9 points. So hell yeah.
Can't win if you don't play.
You can't win if you don't play. You're actually in the lead now. Scott.
Wow.
Adam West.
I'll say 3.
Bri.
Could have gotten this one.
Yeah, I'll call you on it. Probably couldn't do more than 3.
All right, Scott.
Okay, he was Batman.
Yes, correct.
He voices Mayor Adam West on Family Guy.
Correct.
And he was in the Conan O'Brien, Robert Smigel failed pilot, Goodwill.
Look well, but I'll
Look well.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pretend I didn't hear
Ah,
that
shit.
last word. But that's 6 more points. How much you want to gamble?
So
You can only
can I
get
gamble like all my points or just the ones I just won?
just the ones you just won at the end. Everyone will get a chance to gamble whatever they have.
Okay. I'm just gonna go with 2.
2? Okay, cool. So I'll bank these 4, and then. Oh, those 2 points become 6 points. You got 2 6s. So congratulations, you're now in the lead. Bri, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I mean, I heard. Oh wait. Oh, okay. So I can do.
We've heard a lot of things about what he may or may not like, but we have to gamble numbers in.
I'll say 3.
Jay.
I'm gonna. I'll call him.
You'll call on that. All right, Brian.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I heard he likes. He may like big butts. I believe.
Correct. That's
Then he
one.
got back. Is the thing. He raps. I guess.
Yeah.
Could that be another? You know? And then
100%.
region. Can you say them one more time for me? Sorry. The regions.
The regions are Washington, Nevada, South Dakota, New York.
Let's say Washington.
That's another blind 1 out of 4 guess you got right. That's
Fuck
5
yeah.
points, Bri. How many of those do you want to gamble?
Let's roll them all.
Roll them all.
Go.
Hell
Let's do
yeah,
it.
baby. Let's see what we get. The rolls have been hot. Not that one. You lose them. Jay.
Motherfucker.
Bob Barker.
Rigged again. Every game.
I just want to know if he had said for Sir Mix-a-Lot that he does not lie. Would you have accepted?
That is actually a good valid.
No. I thought about this beforehand, and you can only give me 1 lyric per song.
So we could not say his phone number was 1-900 Mix-a-Lot.
No.
That wouldn't count.
No, that wouldn't count. If somebody had just tried to
Damn.
name lyrics from the same, if you name lyrics from different songs, I maybe would have given it to you.
I just want to be clear. You can name lyrics from a song, but then you can also say like their performer.
Yeah,
Like
what they
those are
do
two separate
specifically.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like for an actor, you can name their like movies, and then like also say and they're an actor.
Yeah.
Like that would
Yeah,
be
exactly.
a separate. Okay. Good to know. All right.
Jay, Bob Barker.
Okay. I got to play a little bit more conservative on this one. Unfortunately, I'm going 4 things.
Ooh, Bobby, you calling him?
I'm gonna call him.
All right, let's hear him.
Okay. The host of The Price is Right.
Correct.
Featured role in the infamous Happy Gilmore.
Yes, correct.
Fielded multiple lawsuits from the Barker Beauties models on The Price is Right.
Correct.
I don't know about that.
I just I control F lawsuits on his Wikipedia page.
It's right. It's pretty, yeah.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, Bob. And man, I feel like I should go with the state just because, but we haven't had. This is tough because it feels tricky to me that we haven't had South Dakota yet. He seems like a South Dakota guy. I'm going to say he's from South Dakota.
All right, that's 7 points. He is. I will say this. He was born in Washington, but he was raised in South Dakota. So either of those would have actually been a correct answer for him.
Wow.
So that's 7 points. How many of those you want to gamble?
What's my current
8
total? I had 8 plus 7.
Yeah. So you can
I'll do another 3. Why not?
3. Okay, cool. So I'll go up to 12, and then you lose them. It's nothing.
Great. Beautiful gambling.
Bobby, David Berkowitz.
Who's he again? Wait, I know the
You
name.
tell me.
Oh, I got brain fart.
I think that's the game we're playing.
Is he a serial killer?
I have the wrong Wikipedia page next to him. I have one for somebody I deleted from this game. I usually always overdo and then trim it. I had Adam Yalk for a while. Bobby, I'm gonna need a number.
I guess I'm gonna go 1.
2 things. Say 2 things. No, okay.
Look, I know the name, but for some reason I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember who that is.
Jason,
So
Bobby said 1.
could I? So I can say a higher number.
You can say a higher number.
Yeah, I'll say 3.
Nice.
Scott.
I'm gonna call Jason on 3.
All right. All right, Jason. Let's go.
Okay. New York
Yes, correct.
was called the Son of Sam.
Yep.
Ah, fuck. All right. See, I knew it was a serial killer, but
And yeah, shot people.
Yep. Yep. That was his MO. That's 5 points. How many of those you want to gamble? All of them?
I'm gonna gamble all of them, baby.
Oh yeah.
All 5 points.
that's the way to go.
Jason, you got 3, 4, 5, which is a straight. So those
Holy shit.
5 points become 100 points.
Oh my God!
What the hell is this?
Yeah, gambling, it always pays off. Don't.
Damn.
I'm Mr. Jackpots.
Yes, you are in fact Mr. Jackpots, and this next one goes.
Mr. Jackpots.
This next one goes to you, Jason. Can you tell me Yeah.
Kind of the funny thing about that is I think you and me actually watched the Unsolved Mysteries episode about the Son of Sam thing.
Yeah, probably. We watched a bunch of those, to be fair. Jason, Can you tell me about Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata?
No, I can't.
Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata.
No, I simply do not know who this is.
Okay, you'll need to say one then, probably.
Yeah, I'll say one.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm gonna call Jason again.
All right.
You guys.
Don't say it yet, Jay.
Okay.
That's wild.
I
You
want.
got so much to work with.
Yeah, Brian Jay know
So
who
much.
this is.
Yeah.
Jason?
Trying to think of an answer that would work. A woman of many names.
True.
This is that she's a woman of many names.
No,
That's my answer.
that doesn't work. That's not a fact. That's editorializing.
Good play. Good play.
If you don't know anything, I'm gonna need you to guess one of the states.
All right, I'll guess South Dakota.
Wrong. This
Dang
lady
it.
is from New York, and Jay and Bri, you want to say who this is?
Lady Gaga.
Lady
baby.
Gaga.
Oh, geez.
That
Yeah.
was Lady Gaga's real name.
That's the reason she's like, oh, this is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Lady
Of
Gaga.
course.
All right, we've got
What's your actual name? I don't know if I've ever heard it.
Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata.
What the hell?
Yeah, Lady Gaga was the way to go.
All right, we got two more. Scott, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do, because we've got two more. I'm gonna give these two. We have a not equal number between everyone. I'm gonna give these two to the people with the least amount of points. Let them start
fair.
it. So Bri, sorry,
Nah.
you don't have the least amount of points.
The loser of the game here. Let's
You
start
don't
with
have the
him.
least amount of points because you have some points. Well, the person with
Sure.
the least, with no points will go last.
Oh,
okay.
Bri, Theodore Schultz.
I have no idea what that is. I guess I could guess a location, so maybe one.
Jay,
Call.
call. All right.
Well, we haven't used South Dakota in a long time, so I'm going to try South Dakota. I don't think we ever used it, so let's try that.
It is, in fact, South Dakota. He rose to national prominence after winning the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences in 1979.
Oh.
I was kind of hoping
Nice.
the Schultz would throw people off and maybe think it's the Peanuts guy.
That's what I first thought of, yes, and I was like, I don't think it is.
So that's 1
It's like,
point.
well, I know that guy's name is Charles.
Charles.
yeah, actually,
Yeah.
like,
Bri, do
But
you
I
wanna...
thought maybe that's his middle name. Maybe his
Well, then I
first name
started
is
thinking, it's
actually
like,
Theodore.
Is there another serial killer that we don't know about?
Bri, do you want to gamble that 1 point, or do you want to hold on to it for now?
Yeah, I mean, is there a benefit to doing it now than later?
Not really. So,
Okay, go for it.
all right, let's see what happens. Well, you know what? You got all. It doubles, so you get 2 points instead. So, awesome. You got all
Nice.
even.
Winning.
And then
Winning today.
And then Bobby, you have 0 points at the moment. You get the last one. Gutson Borglum.
What? That's for me?
Yeah, what can you tell me about Gutson Borglum? Or well, let me
What the
read it.
fuck
I'll read his full name on Wikipedia. It is John Gutson de la Matha Borglum.
oh, now I know who it is. Okay. Thank you for clearing that
He's
up.
not a Dune character.
He's not a member of the band Guar.
No, not as far as I know.
Wait, can we say what he's not? Yeah, do those count?
No.
I guess I'll name one thing.
Jason,
You can name two things.
you can name 2 things about this guy. Scott, what do you think?
I'm gonna call Jason.
Okay. All right.
He's a sculptor.
That is correct. You know who this guy is. That's fucked up.
I only know who this guy is because I was looking up, which is my second thing. Worked on Mount Rushmore.
Correct. He's the guy who did Mount Rushmore.
I was looking this up for a project.
I will also say I would have taken the fact was a big weird racist. He detailed a deep racist conviction in Nordic moral superiority and strict immigration policies. Yikes!
And the guy named Gustav Borglum had some weird Nordic racism? No way.
Jason, you want to put all those 3 in the gamble machine?
I do. Put them all in.
All right. Hey, you got 2 1s, so those 3 become 9. All right, so
Nice.
You know what,
It's Mr. Jackpots.
Bobby,
You really are.
everyone's gonna get one more chance to gamble as many of their points as they want. Bobby, you have 0. I'm gonna give you 1 point. You can hold on to it.
Thank you.
You can hold on to it in case somebody else gets, in like multiple people bust out, or you can gamble it. Do you want to gamble it?
Yeah, I'm gonna gamble it.
Hell yeah. Let's see what happens, baby.
I'm all in, baby.
Let it ride. It's nothing. Bri, you have 5 points.
I'm hanging on.
You're
I
hanging
don't
on
think
to
I've
your
ever
5.
done this. Never done this bad before on the show.
Actually, no. You know what? Roll them all. What do I got to lose in this?
Roll them all? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do it, baby. Well, you don't lose them. So, you just get them back. Jay, you've got 12.
Get them all in there.
You're getting them all in there? Oh, hell yeah. Let's...
What the hell?
You lost it, everything.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Scott, you got
I
4.
think I want that as my text message. Like every text message that comes through is just going to be, what the hell? That's great. That's what I want.
Scott, you've got 14.
Let me think about this for a second.
You should just throw it all in, I think. It's
If you
Yeah, put it all in.
did 8, you would be guaranteed not last place.
All right, let's do that then. That's kind of what I was thinking. So yeah, 8.
You lost them, but hey, you still got 6. And then Jason, you have 118. You are currently in first place. Jay and Bobby have 0 points and are not placing. Bri has 5, Scott has 6. How many do you want to put in, Jason?
Run
You
them
can
all.
just go for it.
Hell yeah.
Just go for
yeah.
it.
Let it rip,
Hell
baby.
yeah.
Yeah, boy.
You've lost everything.
No, how could this have happened with gambling?
I know. It's usually such an easy thing. It's so weird.
So Scott, gold medal, Bri, silver medal, and no one gets a bronze because you all had 0 points.
This is how I win. Hey,
I just pick up scraps. That's all I'm looking to do. I just encourage people to fail and pick up the scraps.
But yeah, Scott, do you have your segment this time?
yeah.
Cool. Then let's go over to Scott for. It did the thing. Hold on.
All right, welcome to Scott's Comic Corner, brought to you by Eric Clapton and Big Glass Boxes. Big
Still
Glass
doing
Boxes.
it. It was just doing the thing where it was zooming in on the little window. So everyone pay attention to Scott. He's over here.
Cool. All right, this week's issue is the start of Marvel's big series, One World Under Doom. Doom has taken over the world, and all the world leaders have signed an agreement saying, yeah, you should be in charge. But for some reason, it has not affected the Avengers or the Fantastic Four. Basically, if you're a Marvel superhero, it has not affected you. But the world's heroes, the world's leaders seem to think that Doom being in charge is a good idea. And so far, Doom's plans for world domination, universal health care, and free education for all.
Hell yeah.
And getting rid of Nazis. So obviously the Avengers think, we gotta get rid of this guy. He's not.
He's upsetting the neoliberal status quo.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which is kind of Doom's point in this series. It was written by Ryan North, who's writing the current Fantastic Four run, which I really, really like. It's going to be a 9-part series, so it's going to be taking over most of the year of Marvel. Is Doom going to be in charge? I really like this issue because of the very reason of, like, you read that first issue and you're kind of like, I think I'm on Doom's side so far. I imagine there'll be a downside to a worldwide dictatorship, but at the moment, I'm on board. The artwork's been really good, and because it's the big series, there's going to be a lot of tie-in series. There's going to be some mini-series, Doom Academy, Thunderbolts, Doomstrike, but there's also going to be some singular issues. And if you want to follow along, there's an ad in the back for Doctor Strange of Asgard. That's going to be a new series coming up. But the big thing to know is this little label here, the One World Under Doom. That's going to be how you could tell what issues are tie-ins. Although, from what I understand, next week there's a new series starting called Weapon X-Men. It has that label, but it has nothing to do with the series. The director, the author of that series said so himself. There's like one mention of it, but it has nothing. It's not a tie-in. I think Marvel just kind of wants that dollar. Yeah, and actually, from what I understand, similar to this, because you could tell if you look ahead, the first issue of this has this label, but the continuing issues do not have this label above them. That's the same thing for Weapon X-Men. But like Red Hulk, which is a new number ones. Yeah. Red Hulk, which is a new series, does have that throughout the label throughout the run. So I could see Doctor Strange, this new series, becoming more like tied in as the series goes on, because the reason Dr. Doom was able to take over the world is he's the new Sorcerer Supreme. So I imagine Doctor Strange and his whatever happens in Asgard will come into play towards the end of this series. But that's what Marvel's doing this year. I'm really looking forward to it. I like Ryan North as a writer, so I'm excited to see how the year goes.
Oh yeah, well, because Jason's here, we're gonna do a little Doom date. Doom Prophecy was good. I had detailed notes, but it's been like 2 months since it finished now, so I don't know, I'm just gonna delete all this shit. Mark Strong was really... The one thing I'll really recommend, because it's basically just like Dune-flavored Game of Thrones soap opera trash. Mark Strong is really good, and there's like a moment he has in one of the last episodes where he realizes the fact that, because he's playing the Emperor, he realizes the fact that everybody in his life has been manipulating him in his entire life, essentially, and his like freaked out reaction is really good, and is a really good moment. And then I finished reading Heretics of Dune, the 5th Dune book, about Teen Duncan wanting to visit Arrakis. We get the Harkonnen pervert sphere, which I loved. We get chair dogs, which are weird creatures designed to be chairs for people that will morph themselves to your body. One of the characters becomes Sonic the Hedgehog and gets super speed powers.
Hell yeah. Also voiced by Ben Schwartz.
Yeah. The bad guys, their whole thing is that their pussy goes so crazy that when they fuck you, you bust so hard that you become enthralled to them like a vampire for the rest of your life.
It do be like that sometimes.
And there's like a battling sex scene at one point where there's like a guy who has like a similar ability, and they're like having sex with each other. And it's like, no, she's taking over to, like he's
the sexual Cuisinart Honorac.
Yeah. And it has a good reveal at the end. Like it does a good job of like feeling like its own thing. I know it was kind of made as part of this trilogy that Frank never got to finish, but it has like a good kind of prestige at the end where you kind of realize why all these pieces. It's a very Bene Gesserit heavy book compared to the previous ones. Anything else? Other good motherfucking end of genocide, Palestine, Congo, Syria, everywhere else. I watched for Monday Night Movie Night. I was going to bring up 2 movies we watched recently. One, because it has a bunch of Twin Peaks actors. It's terrible, but Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. It's got the guy who plays Leo Johnson is in it. Ben Horn is in it. The lady who plays Rita in Mulholland Drive is in it. And it's not like a good movie, but it has like a weird vibe that I I kind of liked. I know, Bri, you were much more negative, I think, on it than me.
Wasn't that the one that you and I just watched? It's like our weird, like, because it's our holiday tradition. I think we did that for
Jason
the
was
second
there
one too.
not this Jason, but a different Jason.
Oh, Jason, yeah. I think you're.
What?
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah, there's two Jasons. Sorry.
There's so many. There's a lot of Jasons and Jayettes.
What the hell's going on?
Names,
Jason.
Names.
And then Motorama.
I didn't know about another Jason.
Motorama is a weird movie, but it's a good one.
You know what I found out about that movie after we watched it? It was written by the same guy who wrote After Hours.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
That makes that's pacing wise. That makes a lot of sense then.
And just like even like weirdness wise, it's like, oh, I could see Martin Scorsese directing that movie and like making it better. And also, I could see After Hours being as bad as Motorama was in the wrong hands. So yeah.
No, that's interesting.
But anything you guys want to shout out?
I saw Parasite earlier today. I'm really glad to have been able to see the IMAX run again. I was like, I think it was like one of the last of screenings, but such a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well, Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy V-Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
In 2 days.
When we're recording this, when this is like officially released, it'll probably be like 3-4 days ago. But
yeah, I'm gonna eat a heart-shaped pizza from Pizza Hut on Valentine's Day by myself.
There you go.
That's that
You're a traitor, Robert.
That Nirvana song.
Yeah.
Heart-shaped pizza from Pizza Hut.
Heart-shaped pizza. But...
How could you do that? You know my feelings on Pizza Hut, Robert.
Yeah.
I know, man, but it's just so good. It's the best.
Get a heart-shaped pizza from a local pizza shop.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Buy local,
I'll
you
go find
scumbag. You fucking scab. But yeah, Twin Peaks Club will return.
Nothing's better than Pizza Hut.
In 5 weeks with parts 6 through 9, nice, of the return. I want to thank. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a very special episode. Last time I mentioned that we were done talking about 2024 movies, but we're not. Because next episode in 2 weeks, we're doing Kraven the Hunter and the Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man universe. Which, you know, who would have thought that making an entire series of movies without the character, the main character, would turn out poorly? But hey, you know, I want to thank Brian here for composing our outro. I want to say smash that like button, like and subscribe. Follow us, CinemaCurse666, TikTok and Instagram. Share this episode with your local... Ooh, I'm drawing a blank on this one. Principal, because of Matthew Lloyd. And yeah, I think that's just about it. So I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.